Guys, let's have a little chit chat. So recently I was talking to a friend about, we were just talking about holiday and going on holidays and trips and stuff. And this friend said to me, do you know what? I don't feel financially safe. Like I don't know whether I can afford something or I've even saved enough. So they're a bit financially, or they have financial avoidance. They don't even know when and where to invest. They don't even know what is enough in their savings to even feel comfortable. They just know that they're on autopilot with their finances. And I used to be that kind of person. I used to be in that predicament because I faced a very, very challenging situation where I was in loads of debts, like in my 20s, but I cleared all of that. I made a commitment to myself that I was going to be financially literate, to get myself to a point where I do not I am not desperate, or I don't worry as much about money. And if someone says, Tomi, do you want to go on a trip, or do you want to do this? I can comfortably say yes, because of the plans and the tricks and tips that I've learnt over time. And so if that is you and you're not sure about where you are in your life at the moment, whether you're even on really big income, but you just want to feel financially safe, because feeling financially unsafe is like one of the worst feelings ever. So this is what this video is about. And I'm hoping that after this video, you'll feel more financially confident in 2026 and beyond. So now before we get into the video, just a quick introduction. Hi, my name's Tomi. I make content here on YouTube about just lifestyle related stuff. So anything ranging from fashion, beauty, money, career, everything. So my content is very general. So I hope you like it here, enjoy, and keep on watching the video. Okay, so the first step you want to do is you want to know what your income is. A lot of people get incomes from a range of different sources. Salaried, so salaried income is income from a job, a regular job, a daily job. You want to know how much you're getting from that. Some people get some money from inheritance through different means. Some people have different side hustles. You want to know what your income is on a monthly basis, okay? And then you want to figure out what your expenditure is, what your spending habits are like. And I don't mean spending on things like going on holiday or the ad hoc activity in your life. I mean, what does it cost to live your life? So how much do you spend on rent? How much do you spend on clothes? How much do you spend on food? Are you the sort of person that would rather eat out or order this? Like, what do you prioritize? So the first step is knowing who you are currently, like your current self. And then understanding, do I have any debts, any outstanding debts? Okay, that I'm paying. So am I paying outstanding credit card balances and all of that good stuff? So actually knowing who you are as a person, and then facing the balance sheet, like facing your books and saying, okay, this is who I am. Now, once you've done that, you kind of want to identify, what kind of person do I want to be? And that means, do I want to be someone who relies on, I want to start investing? What does that actually mean? For a lot of people, they don't know what investing means, and they don't know the true return and what the perks are of investing. I know a lot of people, in fact, people in the older generation, that do not believe in investing in the markets. They believe that to actually gain true wealth and income, and you should invest in sort of, I'd say, tangible assets, real estate, and other things like that. You don't need to invest in the markets or anything to get returns. Now, I'm all about passive income and not doing very much, not really working hard for my money. I'm not saying you don't do that with real estate, but to some degree, I do feel like you have to work hard and put some work in with real assets. So if you've identified, okay, I want to be the sort of person that receives income from, I want to have a range of assets and I receive income from them, or I want to have a savings pot that returns a level of return for me, then you're identifying who you want to be. Or I want to be the person that owns a house in this area by X. Now, ultimately, once you've identified, and this is where your vision board comes into play. And if you don't know much about vision boards, then watch my video on vision boards here. And so once you've identified the kind of person or who you want to be, what you want to own, you're going to start working towards those goals. Okay, so this kind of person, your new self, who invests, who has a nice savings pot, does not have debt. Okay, so the first step through working through that process is making sure you have stable income. Okay, utilizing, thinking about what skills you have and where you can use those skills to get a stable job. And it doesn't matter if the job pays you 20K to 100K. It's about having stable income. Okay, and so once you've identified, I have certain skills, I need a stable job, I want to feel financially safe, the first step, particularly if you have debt, is to clear any debt. Okay, and clearing debt will be the first step you achieve in sort of meeting this financial goal. That's the first step. You have to, in fact, there is no use saving or even investing in markets if you have debt, because that is costed and is eaten into your income more than anything else. So you kind of want to focus on clearing your debt. The only time I would say you can save simultaneously with clearing debt is if you are, like I said, if you have a monthly debt, like if you have a big debt pool, and let's say you're paying about 100 or 200 pounds a month, and you can see that the end date is in 12 months, then you can say, actually, I'm just going to put 100 pounds towards this debt, towards clearing this debt, and then I'm also saving simultaneously. But then you have to look at what the costs are when you think about the interest on that debt. So once you've cleared your debt, you can now start looking at your emergency fund. Now, your emergency fund is a fund that you build in the event of an emergency. Now, this emergency would cover things like in the event you're made redundant, in the event you lose your income, you can still sustain your lifestyle at the minimum viable level. So you have a roof over your head. So let's say your expenses consist of rent, they consist of like maybe shopping in M&S. I'm just buying your groceries in places like M&S, and includes transport. It also includes eating out, dining out, doing delivery. Now, in the event of a redundancy, you're going to work out what your basic minimum expenses are. So you're going to be like, okay, so my rent is £1,000 and I spend £300 on food. And then I have all these other monthly direct debits on Netflix and things like that. So in the event that I do lose my job, on average at the moment, because the economy is not great within the UK, typically people would have gotten jobs within, let's say they became redundant, they would have gotten jobs within 1 to 3 months. Now that number's almost tripled. So you kind of have to think about, okay, the state of the economy right now, on average, people are getting jobs within 8 months. So I'm going to think about my finances in the sense that if my monthly expenses equate to about £2,000 a month, or they equate to £1,500 a month, then I'm going to save 8 months worth of my living expenses. And if you cannot comfortably save 8 months worth of your living expenses, right, with what you have, then you have to start looking as to whether you're spending more than you can afford. It's a very, very good, because then you will be screwed in the event you lose your job, because then you cannot sustain yourself for a long period of time, except you get really lucky with finding another job that can pay you ASAP. But you should always have that contingency in place. So once you clear your debt first, we're going to move on to the emergency fund, and the emergency fund is built on based on us reviewing our expenses. Now, you could choose your lifestyle first over how much you save in your emergency fund, but I always say, look at your income and don't live above your means. So look at your income. This is, again, you have to think about how you budget as well. If you earn £2,000 a month, okay, and you're trying to work out really and truly how much can I really afford, I don't think your rent should be more than 30% or 33% of your income. And so if you find yourself going above that threshold, then I would say there are real like affordability concerns here and how you think about money. But then if you've saved a good enough investment pot and a good emergency fund and investment pot, then you're good. You're good. So guys, I almost forgot to mention, so when you've gotten to a stage whereby you feel you've now surpassed, like you have your emergency fund, and now you're in the investing cycle of your savings goals and objectives, then you can ease off a little bit. Then you can say, actually, I want to create a travel fund. I want to create I can do whatever I like fund. So once you've had those once you've met that goal, you can live life a little. You can live life a little. And then the next phase of that is, okay, let's start investing, because investing is more of a longer term game. And I'll just talk briefly about investing.